In today's video, traders, we're going to be talking about dollar, yen, and some ways to trade it effectively. Let's get into the video right now. Hello traders, and welcome back to another one of my YouTube videos. My name is Nick, also known as Trader Nick here on YouTube. I make all sorts of trading educational content here. We're going to be talking about dollar, yen, but before I do, I want to take a second. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure you also turn on alerts that will help you get up-to-date new information from me about trading the currency market. If that sounds helpful to you, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Okay, let's get into the video today talking about dollar, yen. Now, this is USDJPY. Now, this particular video has been one that people have been asking me to do for a while, and I'm really excited to actually get into this topic, specifically today, dollar yen, USDJPY. What are some ways to trade this particular currency pair? As I've said many times in the past on my channel, particular markets trade differently than others, right? Gold trades differently than euro dollar, that trades differently than pound dollar, and that trades differently than dollar yen. Dollar yen is a very specific, very unique market to trade, and that's exactly what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about some concepts today that you can use when taking a look at USDJPY. Now, this is a major currency pair. If you don't know what that means, you have the pound dollar, you have euro dollar, and you have USDJPY. Now, what you'll notice is all three of those have USD in them, right? That's because these are kind of the major four currencies in the world, the biggest four. You have the yen, the pound, the dollar, and the euro, right? USDJPY is an especially interesting one because there are some interesting relations between the Japanese banks as well as the US dollar, right? There's some interesting kind of stuff that goes on here. Now, one thing that we need to cover before we talk about USDJPY is that it has JPY in it. Now, what is significant about JPY? Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up a sketch pad here for illustration. What you can see here, we're looking again at USDJPY. And what I find interesting is that USDJPY trades very kind of respondingly to, of course, the US dollar, but also to the yen. The yen is specifically what I want to hone in on here because the yen is one of those things when you have fear, right, in the world, people actually buy the yen. Now, why is that? Well, the fear, the world has always kind of gravitated into buying the Japanese yen as a safe haven currency. Now, this is reflective in the actual market itself and really can be interesting to watch. So when you have, again, you have fear goes up in the world, right? So when people are scared, what happens to the yen? Well, JPY, we'll put it here. JPY goes up, right? So when people are scared, people buy the yen, right? They get long on the yen because it's a safe haven currency. They move their money from other places, stocks, the US dollar, the Aussie dollar, all of the other places, and they push their money into the Japanese yen because it's a safer currency. The interest rates that they offer are a little bit more conservative. There's all sorts of stuff there why people prefer buying the Japanese yen as more of a safe haven currency involved in the market. So what does this actually cause the USDJPY to do? Well, again, we mentioned that the USDJPY or the JPY goes up during a time of fear. But we're not talking about just JPY here, we're talking about USDJPY. So when USDJPY has fear come into the market, right? So the world becomes scared, what happens to USDJPY? Well, remember we said that that JPY goes up, right? So what does that mean about the dollar? It means it goes down relatively. Right? So a lot of cases, what you're going to see when the market gets scared, like we're seeing currently in this example, USDJPY makes a movement to the downside. So typically USDJPY responds to fear, right? So as people are more scared, they sell off USDJPY, they sell off their dollars in favor of the yen. Now, there are some other things that I want to talk about here. We'll clear this up. Another thing that goes along with this is typically when market sentiment changes, there are some beautiful trends to ride, and USDJPY is a fantastic instrument to use that for. So now that we understand that fear is kind of responding to, or the USDJPY chart will kind of respond to fear in a certain way, let's talk about some ways to actually technically trade it. So when you start to see fear come into the market, we're going to start to see USDJPY go down. We understand that. So how can we actually take profit from kind of trading this particular market? My opinion is to use trends. Let's see if do I have any templates? Moving averages, for example. Simple concepts here can actually be really, really powerful on USDJPY. Take a look at this very simple concept here of a moving average crossover. Now I know some people hate moving average crossovers. I have a video here on moving average crossovers if you're interested in that, and the ways that I actually like to trade moving average crossovers. And in fact, USDJPY might actually be a great candidate for this. So make sure you check out that video if you have not already seen it. But what you can see here, if you know what a moving average crossover is, simply we have our 50-period blue moving average and we have our 20-period red moving average. And you can see that right here, when price moved underneath, look at what we got. We got a really nice, beautiful trend that continued all the way till right around, in fact, it's still going on. We haven't crossed back over. So if you had taken this signal, right, something as simple as this, it would have rode out really well. Well, why is that significant, Nick? Well, this is just kind of showing the nature of that strong pushes that we do see in dollar yen, right? We see it again and again. We see markets that happen like this, for example. Take a look at this, what we're looking at right here. You can see a tendency for dollar yen to move in kind of continuation, right? Long pushes here. Now, if I take up my sketch pad again, this moving average crossover, of course, is not necessarily what I'm saying you should trade it based on, but it is giving us a good illustration of what I'm talking about here. Talking about USDJPY, and we can see that in this case, when we got that bearish cross, the market continued to rally lower and lower, pushing lower, and continuing to make lower lows. A nice trend here to the downside. And in fact, when we got that switch back, right, when sentiment changed, we saw fear kind of dwindling and people becoming a little bit more confident. Look what we got on the way up. We got a beautiful trend to the upside. So again, fear is going to cause these markets a lot of times to trend very, very strongly. So USDJPY can be a fantastic thing to trade. Something as simple as, well, let's not do a line chart. Let's do a candlestick chart. Something as simple as buying these pullbacks, right? Let's say that you have a technical price action based concept using a moving average as well as support and resistance. Something as simple as pulling back to this moving average might have actually been a beautiful signal if you are following like fundamentals or something, or you're simply using longer term trends to ride these movements to the upside, right? Something as simple as that on USDJPY can work if you manage your risk properly, if you have all sorts of other things checked off, using the trends that do unfold due to market volatility, due to fear that we often see because of that JPY concept, can actually make some really beautiful trends. Now, I am looking at the daily time frame, and I personally like to trade trends a little bit longer term, but this can also work on the shorter time frames. Using that 1 hour time frame, right? You can still trade pullbacks. You can trade concepts like this with USDJPY. Now, is it going to work every single time? No, not necessarily. But what you can see here is, for example, recently we had some crazy movements to the downside here, some really strong trends happening on USDJPY. Notice that it's going down, meaning fear was actually going up, right? People were getting scared and selling their US dollars in favor of the yen. So simple concept like this, guys. So if I'm looking to trade USDJPY, what am I looking to do? I'm looking for trend continuation setups. I'm looking for pullbacks. I'm looking for confirmation setups, right? Using candlestick patterns. I have a whole channel full of educational content for you if you're looking to look for technical entries. But from a concept of trading USDJPY, I'm looking for continuation, trend following, pullback, breakouts, that sort of thing. Looking to not necessarily fade this move, because a lot of times when you have fear coming into the market, it persists for quite some time. Same with confidence, right? Confidence continued to push. In the last 10 years or so from making this video, we've seen a bull market across the global market, right? Markets just doing well, and markets can do well for a long period of time. So USDJPY, based on kind of fear, a lot of times can trend very strongly for a prolonged period of time. Guys, I hope this was helpful to you. I've got more videos that you can check out here on the channel. Thanks so much for taking some time to hang out with me, and we will see you on the next video.